Yo boys, welcome back to another trade fucking recap. Right, so let me just move my shit. Yep. Okay, right. So we're gonna be breaking down this 1 to 3 that I took on NQ today, which was let the fucking trade of 8 load. There it is. Which is this absolute fucking banger. Top tick this bitch and bottom tick this bitch. This was a super nice trade. Yeah, and I took it on a challenge account, which you can see is now 3% up. So yeah, I'm going to be going over this trade, why I took it, my reasoning behind it. I've only been trading futures for like this will be my second full week of doing it. I've only done it for like one full week because last week I wasn't able to trade. So I am still kind of adjusting my model and things like that, but this was textbook. This was A plus in my opinion. So yeah, let's get straight fucking into it. So coming into the day, what was I looking for? Right, so originally my bias was long. Well, it is always long because we are at all-time highs, and you want a high win rate in all-time highs, you continue long and you don't short because price is just fucking bullish. Like, look at us, like we are clearly displacing to the upside and there's no signs of stopping just yet. This was an early sign of stopping potentially, and price just ripped. So yeah, we are just ripping to the upside, but there are still trades to be taken and still positions to be had. Now, on the 4 hour, looking at kind of what we could see, we had this 4 hour for value gap that price was respecting, continue going up, and then we did in fact inverse this 4 hour just here. So with that inversion, this was kind of during my trade, this inversion happened. This was, well, coming into the day, because we were still respecting this gap, a lot of people would still say they're bullish. Now, from my experience and just from the way I trade discretionary, because I've been trading for almost 3 years, right? I wasn't expecting price to just continue from here. If I'm being honest, I'd expect price to come lower before going higher. I don't know why. I just from what I've seen, screen time, and just the way that I've kind of learned from experience, these gaps right at the top just never get respected, in my opinion. They do sometimes do, but a lot of the times we're gonna see price, inverse them, or at least trade more into the discount. So yes, you could argue over here you could have this as your swing, but you can see that we're not even tapped the discount yet. So for me, I just, it's not a high quality gap to be trading away from. So I was leaning more shorts for the day. Okay, as well as that, we had this hourly fair value gap get inversed, and so once this got inversed, again, this is more conviction telling me that this 4 hour gap is not going to be respected. As well as that, we have had this kind of internal, you wouldn't really call it a change in state delivery. This would be your change in state delivery because this is the down close that created the high. But nevertheless, we did break this low with with displacement in a sense. So for me, I'm very much looking towards selling because again, we're disrespecting bullish, we're creating bearish. So that was my bias coming into the day, shorts. So what was I originally looking for, right? Coming at 135 ish, okay, or just before. This is when I kind of sit down at the charts. 45 minutes before market open, I see that we have this untapped hourly fair value gap. We have an unfilled 30-minute and an unfilled 50-minute with a bunch of this LRL resting above. So what I was originally looking for, if I'm being honest, was for price to trade higher at market open, come into this hourly, come into the 30-minute, come into the unfilled 15, maybe tap the order block and then displace. The only con for that would be that we did have relatively equal highs at Asia high, but I would still take this trade if there is bias, if there's confirmation for it, right? However, something happened in the markets. Trump, Iran, some ceasefire got broken again or some bullshit, I don't know, and so the market decided to say fuck that trade idea, we're going down straight away. So this is where once you get this massive down close, okay, just before market open, and you see price leave these equal lows over here. I mean, ES, I do believe ES took these lows. 7 o'clock is talking about May. I believe it did. Yeah, it did. So you do have kind of SMT at these lows, a bullish SMT. But for me, this bullish SMT isn't necessarily valid because I am still bearish, right? Because I'm expecting, okay, why I wouldn't expect this to hold is one, because it's resting just above previous day low at Asia low, okay, but also the fact that Nas got so close to taking it and actually created relatively equal lows at them. To me, it's not really an SMT anymore. It's just a draw of liquidity that is SMT to support price higher before coming back down, right? So that's kind of what I was looking for. Now, market open, we immediately trade higher. Where are we trading into? Okay, we're first off trading into this 15-minute bearish fair value gap. Okay, now this is where I'm reacting and not predicting. My original plan coming into the day was to see price trade higher into here and then displace lower. But because we got that immediate displacement to the downside and this 15-minute fair value gap being created, I'm now looking to react to the market and, you know, trade with what it's showing me, not just what I originally had planned. Because marrying a plan isn't going to yield you good results. Again, from my discretion, I've not traded futures for long. This is just for my discretion, things like that. Adjusting your plan to what you're seeing and reacting is what's going to yield you the best results. So we do have this kind of order block over here that we're trading into. All right, where's my order block? There it is. We have this order block. We have this 15-minute fair value gap, and then going down to the lower time frame, I'm looking for, you know, some sort of intermediate high sweep, and you can see we get that soup into this untapped 5-minute. Okay, it's also a BPR, which is even nicer. So we have this 5-minute BPR up here, which is balanced price range. It's basically an inversion and a fair value gap, kind of a bullish inversion with a bearish fair value gap. Okay, so it's a high area for price to tap into. So we have this BPR just here. As well as that, we suit these 5-minute intermediate highs as a turtle soup into the gap. Okay, so once we've had this sweep and things like that, now and a lot of people are like, oh, we inversed this 5-minute. Yeah, we did inverse the 5-minute. Yes, this is a little bit of a con, but what are we retesting? We're retesting the 15-minute order block, retesting the 5-minute order block, retesting the 5-minute BPR. We've had turtle soup. Okay, we are still inside the 15-minute, right? Obviously, the 30-minute hasn't formed, which is, you know, not gonna have everything, right? But again, look where we're reacting to. We're reacting to the 30-minute order block. This is beautiful. Okay, this is like everything I'd want to see. So once I've had this soup, 5-minute fair value gap, there was nothing else over here really that price could trade higher into, unless it wanted to come into the extreme supply. But I wouldn't really look at that, to be honest. The only invalidation for this trade would be if price gave me no confirmation, traded here, and then I'd be looking to short from there. So this up here was still important for my context until I take the trade. So once we've had all this, okay, I'm looking at what ES is doing. Now, ES at the time had created this bearish SMT in play, right? We had this bearish SMT on this kind of 1-minute high, the 217 high, and then obviously this one just hit. So once we had this SMT, now yes, you could take ES. I don't trade ES. I only trade NQ. But yeah, ES is kind of the leading pair in the sense that if you were to take shorts, you'd probably look at taking ES. It's a lot weaker. So yeah, we have this bearish SMT put in. Okay. So more context to why I should be looking to take short. So what do I do? What do I do? Well, first off, I do not have Trading View Premium. I need to get it. I've just not really got around to doing it, to be honest. However, I have Tradeovate open on my second monitor. If I can show you just here. I always have Tradeovate open on my second monitor, and I've got it open to the 30-second time frame. Okay, so this allows me to really look at the fair value gaps, because I do look at 30-second inversions as well. So I'm looking at the 1 minute and looking at the 30-second, and what I see is that we do indeed get a 30-second inversion. At this point, I believe it was hit. Was it hit? No, we went higher first. There it is. This is my entry. We had another soup into the gap. Again, ES still respecting this SMT. I mean, it is now kind of relatively equal highs, but it is still SMT nevertheless. I think did we take it? I can't remember if we did take it or not. Maybe we did take it. No, they were just equal highs. Okay. So once this got swept again, I wasn't really looking too much into it. There was a 30-second entry in here. However, it was down here, and the inversion was like, it looked something like that, if I remember correctly. It was not the best inversion. When I'm looking for an inversion, I'm looking for a clear breakthrough. So I waited a little bit longer. We came up, we set the high again, so we have more turtle soup and an inducement into the gap. Once this inducement happens, we need confirmation that is a real inducement. And what do we see? We see a 1 minute inversion just here, and again on the 30-second there was also an inversion. Now that was our highest time frame inversion. Okay, there was nothing else. There's no 3 minute, there was no 5 minute. There was a 3 minute here that was supporting price up higher. However, we're up here now. Again, a lot of people would be looking at this 3 minute as you need to wait for this to be invalidated. No, because which is the manipulation leg? Which is the leg that created the manipulation? This is our manipulation leg, right? So I'm only looking for inversions, okay, in this leg, right? Not this leg, because we've created a new leg, okay? And I'm including wicks in this. We have created a new leg, okay? So this is my new leg that I'm looking for an inversion in, not down here. That is no longer useful to me. The only area where I say would be useful for price to potentially rebound off is this 5 minute fair value gap, which I do see people take break evens at these 5 minute fair value gaps. My mate does that, absolutely fine. It's trade still would have won. So yeah, once we had this 1 minute inversion and the 30-second inversion, and we had this inducement, I'm thinking to myself, if we're gonna go now. So I entered, I think here, stops at the high, and then I did target. Originally I was looking to target all the way down to this 1 hour unfilled, but at least the previous day low. However, again, I was reacting to what price was doing, and I ended up closing for 1 to 3 here. So if we watch the trade play out, we entered, price comes through. Now once we get to this 5 minute fair value gap, okay, you can look to manage, well, a lot of people do manage risk at these 5 minutes, because again, we are still bearish on the 5 minute, in my opinion. Okay, we are still bearish on the 3, well, we are bearish on 3 minute now, because we've had this change in state of delivery. So the reason I don't go break even here for me is because I have so much conviction we're going to come lower, that if price wants to have a small reaction from here and come into this 3 minute fair value gap that was being formed at the time, we could potentially see that happen from here before we come lower. Okay, but that's why I don't go break even. But obviously we didn't, we flushed straight through, which was perfect, and we came all the way down. And then the reason I decided to take profit here is I was up 3% on the account, and I was thinking to myself, price could come here, but like I was saying to someone earlier, with futures, it tends to just leave these sometimes. These draws, we do have triple stack lows here, but it does, futures for me just does tend to leave shit like this. So when I'm up like 3% on a trade, I'm gonna take profit. I'm not gonna hold out for an extra couple of pips points, sorry, or until these, because I've kind of made my trade, right? And I'm learning from mistakes. The other week, not last week, the week before, when I was trading, I was up 2% on the account. Was going to take profit and just didn't, and price ended up reversing. So that was the trade, and it was beautiful. I literally bottom ticked it. I closed out there, and then I think there was another entry to be had over here, just to go over it very quickly. We did tap into this 5 minute. Okay, we do have this some sort of like LRL building up here. I mean, this isn't the worst continuation trade there is in the world. Okay, and then I think there was a 1 minute or 2 minute inversion play here. I think this was a 2 minute inversion play right here. It wasn't the best inversion in my opinion, but it's not a bad trade. I don't think this is an invalid trade. You've retested the 3 minute order block. You're inside the 15 minute. You got triple stack lows. You got a bunch of LRL built up here. You have a 2 minute inversion, highest time frame in the manipulation leg, as well as a 1 minute inversion and a 30-second inversion. So taking a short here would not be the worst play I've ever seen. I think it's valid. The only thing that was going against that is what ES was doing. ES had no inversion on the 1 minute nor the 2 minute, and it was just kind of accumulating over here. Now, yes, this is very strong to be taken, but if I'm expecting this to be taken on ES, I'd expect one more high and then a manipulation. And so yeah, I was kind of just waiting for that, and unfortunately, price just never gave that, and it just continued going up. So yeah, that was the NQ trade that I took today. Very like textbook trade. We have soup in a BPR, another inducement, followed by a 30-second 1 minute inversion, and a 3-minute change state delivery. Over here, which obviously you could enter straight from here as well and have maybe a tight slot. Still would have catched a call 1 to 2. So yeah, that was the trade. Beautiful trade. Yeah, let's I'm gonna keep banging these out, keep going over them. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions about futures or anything like that. I'll answer them. If you want to learn how I trade, drop me a message below. If not, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.